Henry Cejudo says Bo Nickal is not ready for top 10 guys and could be as many as 10 fights away. I'm curious about that. Henry has proven to be an incredible mind in the sport. His analysis are very good. His fighting, come on, it's incredible. World champion, right? Then as a coach, which he stepped into while still being an active athlete, like nobody can do both. Michael Jordan couldn't do both. Tiger can't do both. Henry, while being an active athlete, began producing in a fast period of time world champions. So his opinion matters. I am so curious by that statement, though. What is it that Henry has seen? What is it within Bo's match against Cody that would lead him to that conclusion, considering Bo did not lose a round, he did not lose the fight, he did not lose an exchange, he did not fail to get a takedown, he did not get taken down, he did not throw air balls on strikes, he did not get struck. He didn't lose the hands game, the feet game, the knee game, or the elbow game. I'm just, what part of it? He won in dominating fashion, but he didn't win in dominating enough fashion. He dominated, but he should have dominated more. He won, but he should have won more, faster. I'm just interested. Because I do get where Henry sees this sport very different than most wrestlers, and even within his own style. And it went out and it worked. I don't question Henry, but it is different. And I have seen a number of wrestlers come over to the sport, and oh my gosh, I'll sit and listen to them, and I'll just be hanging my head saying, man, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then time will go by, and you'll have never heard from them, or they got washed out, and I don't understand the concept. Now, I must also admit for you, there's a lot of things conceptually that I don't understand about the sport. I was a southpaw. Do you know what that means? Do any of you know what that means to be a southpaw? You're probably talking about my paws, aren't you? You're probably talking about my hands, aren't you? Okay, great, because it doesn't have anything to do with my hands. It has anything to do with my head or my knees or my body or my torso or how much my mother loved me. It has to do with which leg do I lead. Now, I only have two legs. One of them has to be in front. And if my right leg is in front, it makes me a southpaw. That is it. There is nothing else. But I bring that to you because, boy, you'll hear an analysis. You'll hear guys that won't fight southpaws and won't fight them. They can't find training partners as a southpaw. I don't know if anybody I ever fought was a southpaw, but at the same time, I don't know if they were orthodox. To this day, I do not have the foggiest idea why that would matter. I've heard about a cage. I heard there's a big cage and there's a small one. And I heard you want to fight him in a phone booth, but I never seen a fight in a phone booth. Never seen two guys step into a phone booth to settle a problem. So I've never really understood the expression. I hear there's a difference between a cage and a ring, but I have no idea what it is. I fought in cages and I fought in rings. I trained every day for that, and I've never trained in a cage or in a ring. So if it's so important, the ring versus cage is so important, why don't I have one at the gym? You don't have one at the gym, not because of the expense or the size they take up. You don't have one because they don't matter. Just go fight. And I only bring that to you. I've had conversations with wrestlers that have come to the sport. They know about domination. They know about working hard. They know about cardio. Then they go out there and pushing and pulling with a guy. They know about doing it when the crowd is watching, when the house is on fire. And I've heard them tell me, here was one that I had, a specific one. To be in the UFC, you must know every single martial art. Not just wrestling, offensively and defensively. You must know karate. And when you know karate, it's not just offensively. You must also know the defense. And it's jiu-jitsu. But not just the offensive jiu-jitsu. You must know the defense. Like this was actually said. He took the time to spell this out. He brought Taekwondo in, and he brought on all these, but you must know them both. And I'm thinking, no, you don't need either. What are you talking about? What are you possibly talking about? Walk out there, grab a hold of the guy, and throw him down. That's it, and that's what you do. Not everybody can do that, but you can. You're a wrestler. Grab him and throw him down. figure it out from there. And I say that because I'm obviously not completely right, but I'm also not being completely serious when I tell you just go grab and throw him down. But that would be one end of the spectrum, my end, and then there would be the other end, where you have to know every single art plus the discipline of every art. So where's the middle? And there are matches where there is something called a moral victory. And a lot of times within a moral victory, which is only established one way, which is to extend the time of the match, it's not to reverse and or change the outcome. It's just to extend the inevitable. People thought I would not be able to make it a minute. I made it an entire round. People didn't think I could make it a round. I can make it all three and send this to the judges. It's called a moral victory. But when you see the moral victories, and you see a guy that tried to get one, now sometimes they just happen, that's fine. Well, at least it's a moral victory. That's just fine. That's where two competitors came out and they competed. But when you see a guy attempting to win a moral victory, what that means is he's attempting to slow down the match. He will grab your wrist and hold it. Not like like a guy trying to win. That's where you lock it out and you try to break his wrist. No, just the moral victory guy will just grab yours and hold it. It will just slow you down from getting to your next step. Take a couple of ticks off the clock. And when you do something like that, or when you have that happen to you, it doesn't change the domination factor. It doesn't change. If he slowed down your offense but did not mount an offense of his own, it doesn't change the scale of domination. And I would just be curious. I'm very open to hearing. But as far as wrestling goes, no, Henry can't be talking about that. And as far as control once you get down to the mat, no, Henry can't be talking about that. And whether it's out in the open or it's up against the fence, and by the way, those are the only two places to fight, but both were demonstrated and the control was there. So if you're fighting a top 10 guy, whether you control him or it gets a little bit sloppier, what difference does it make? You can't lose a fight unless he gets his offense going. So what did you see within my defense that you thought could be exploited by a top 10 guy? And it wasn't a jab, and it wasn't a cross, and it wasn't orthodox or southpaw that gave Bo problems. It wasn't high kicks, body kicks, or leg kicks that gave Bo problems, because none of them happened. It wasn't getting caught or a rubber guard or a looser guard or reversals or submissions or cardio or strategy. None of those things happened. So regardless of who the opponent is, based on what you saw, where were the weaknesses? Where were the holes? What did you see an opening that you thought you could make bigger and drive a truck through if you had a more skilled athlete? I'm purely asking the question. I'm not answering it. But it's an interesting assessment. And we will definitely keep our eye on it. We will definitely check back in to see if Henry turns out to be right.